1 and go. Wait, I lied.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay, now you're good. Go.
Hello, everyone. We love to come in laughing because it's Friday and because it's a gorgeous day here in my neck of the woods, and probably, hopefully, everybody else's, no matter where you are in the world, because some places it's spring, but the place we're going today, it's fall. So it is autumn there. I'm Janine Stanley. I am the Director of Communications for the customers of Ira. Shut up. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to go there. Anyway, I am joined today by Ryan Bishop, who is laughing way too much in the background. Yay, Ryan.
Hello, everyone. No, sorry. I think I scared my dog because the screen was sitting in front of her face and then we popped up on the screen and she jumped.
I understand, Australia. Yes, we understand. Okay. And we have Agent Julia with us today. Hey, Julia.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be back. It's been a few weeks.
Oh, I know. And we have our hostess, Miss Stephanie Watts. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Janine, Julia, Ryan, family, friends, YouTubers, Zoomers, all of them.
Zoomiverse, or is it the YouTuberverse?
YouTubers.
Yes. All of the tunes in
we love to
live
have fun here.
world.
Yeah.
Yay. So
all of the
today,
verses, right?
Yeah, all the verses, all of
Singing
the everyone
harmony.
Everywhere. You got it. And we are actually going to be traveling today to our second international museum, because we did do a museum in Australia a bit ago. But we are now going to travel to New Zealand, and we are going to visit if I pronounce this incorrectly, I am so sorry, the Te Papa Tongarewa National Museum of New Zealand. Ta-da! And for that visit, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie and Julia.
All right, let me go ahead and get my screen shared.
Yes.
Let's dive in. I'm excited about this one.
Julia, just because it's Friday, May 14th in the US and abroad, and I want to pick on Janine because I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. Say that name again, that museum name again. One more time.
It is Te Papa Tongarewa.
That's great. Yes. So happy.
And I only say it that way because I heard Jonathan Mosen pronounce it that way. So I figure it's right if Jonathan pronounced it that way. Right. So
I think it's cool that we're going to New Zealand. And this is it Pacific something month? Forgive me if
It is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which is the other reason that we picked this museum, because it's also a place we haven't visited. And I don't know that a lot of people know a lot about the Maori, who are the native people of New Zealand. And I thought, this would be a fun one. Julia actually found this great museum. And I will tell you guys, this is probably one of the most accessible museums in the world. But honestly, some of the artworks and things like that really do need some additional visuals on. But if you live in New Zealand and you are deaf, you can actually get a sign language tour of the museum upon request. There are all kinds of things, and the site is beautifully accessible. So feel free to explore.
I'm so happy to welcome our friends in New Zealand. Those who participated before or joining for the first time, welcome. Happy to visit New Zealand, a place I want to actually visit in real life, real time. Yes, here it's
absolutely. I have a dear friend who lives in Gore, South New Zealand, on the South Island, and I believe it is the most southern. That can't be the most southern city in the world, but it's pretty close, I think.
Not knowing my history of New Zealand, maybe those on YouTube and Zoom and wherever, especially YouTube, I think you can comment to us. Is that right, Ryan?
They sure can.
They sure can. Yep. So they can
comment
chat
in the chats. Yeah, I welcome your chat.
Absolutely. And were you able to share your screen, Julia?
Yep, I've got it all shared up. Ready to go.
Ready?
Great. Let's
right.
go.
All right. We are at the Museum of New Zealand. Sorry. Great start. Museum of New Zealand, Te Papa Tongarewa Museum this week. And it is located brick and mortar at 55 Cable Street in Wellington, New Zealand. And it's located on the web at Te Papa, that's TEPAPA.govt.nz. And this is the largest museum in New Zealand. And that is evidenced by the fact that in their online collection, they have about 800,000 artifacts.
Whoa.
So we decided that for AAPI month, we were going to focus on the Maori people today. And so let's dive in. I'm on the homepage right now, and the homepage has a feature that shows you what is on currently in the exhibits at Te Papa. And the first one says it's the Chiharu Shiota, which is the Web of Time. It says, enter a vision of the universe, the Web of Time, an installation by Japanese artist Chiharu Shiota creates the vision of a night sky studded with constellations of numbers. And that's on display now. There's a photograph here of a woman standing in the center of a room, and it looks like it's been set up with all kinds of black webbing of strings all surrounding. So it's almost like you're in a nest of darkness, and then there's numbers that shine through from on the ceiling, white numbers. And there's a woman standing in the center of the room looking contemplatively up at the top of this exhibit. And then it looks like right now they also have a Gallipoli exhibit. It says Gallipoli, the Scale of Our War. This groundbreaking exhibition tells the story of the Gallipoli campaign in World War I through the eyes and words of 8 extraordinary New Zealanders who found themselves in extraordinary circumstances. And then next up, this is sort of more what we are wanting to focus on today. It says, and again, pronunciations today might be a little bit rough, so bear with us, but it says Rango Mare Roa Te Marae. All people have a right to stand on our marae, Rango Mare Roa, through a shared whakapapa and the mana of the Tonga held in Te Papa's collections. And what Tonga is the cultural artifacts of the Maori people.
Ooh, cool.
And
it all sounds so.
Oh, let me describe this picture though while we're here. This is, looks like a, oh, where'd it go? There we go. It looks like a stage set up in the center of the room, and there are chairs around it in sort of an auditorium setup. And on the stage is a large structure that looks like sort of an altar. It's a big steepled archway, and it's divided into 4 panels on either side. And each of these panels is intricately decorated with what looks like tribal symbolism. So the first panel towards the front is gold images, and it has tribal patterns on it. And then it looks like there's also sculptural elements standing out from it that are shaped like different animals. And then the panel behind that is red with similar architectural design and patterns. And then there's a blue one and a green one sort of arching back into the structure. And then you can see on the back wall of this structure, there are, it looks like tribal imagery as well. It looks like there's some drawings of people and some drawings of animals. And it looks like you can go inside and sit at a little table inside this big structure and sort of look up and look around at all this imagery.
Oh, wow.
Sounds gorgeous.
This sounds cool. So what happens if we click on the link involved with that?
So this takes us to where they talk about this actual exhibit inside the museum itself. It says it's a permanent exhibit on level 4. It's free entry, and it takes about 10 minutes to get through. But they also have a bunch of online collections that are what is going to be more of our interest today. It says collections online has information on almost 800,000 artworks, objects and specimens from Te Papa's collections, from dinosaur teeth to contemporary art, Buzzy Bee to Xena. Collection areas cover Tonga Maori, Pacific cultures, history, photography, art, botany, and zoology. These items are complemented by over 190,000 images with over 60,000 available for high resolution download. There's also a wealth of information on related people, places, topics, species, and research from Te Papa. So they do have quite a bit of online content here.
Julia, can I interrupt a moment and ask, just for visual description purposes, are there Maori pictures of Maori individuals? And if so, would you mind describing what perhaps they look like? Because I just don't know. So
yeah, absolutely. There's actually a link in that little blurb that I just read that says the Tonga Maori, which is going to take us to the collection of the Maori artifacts and art and all of those things that they have.
Because I bet they've got a lot of pictures in the history section.
Yeah,
they must. Yeah. So here's the it says explore more information about the Maori down at the bottom of this page. And this has brought me to, it says collection objects, and there are over 10,000 objects in this collection that relate to the Maori people. And there's a drop-down menu where it says refers to, associated with, influenced, or depicts. So let's start with depicts and see what we can find for actual images of the Maori people.
Now, I know that in Aboriginal culture, I believe it's that having your picture taken or showing pictures of people is kind of a taboo thing to do.
Oh, okay.
And so, we will warn people that there will be pictures of actual people coming up. So if that is your belief system, you can be warned to maybe put your screen curtain on.
Yes, we do have some actual photographs here. Let's start right at the top, which is actually a painting. And this is a painting called View of Mount Egmont, Taranaki, New Zealand, taken from New Plymouth with Maoris driving off settlers' cattle. And this is a painting from, let's see, 1861 by an Australian artist from Melbourne called William Strutt. And in this image, there is a collection of Maori people in the foreground, huddled behind a bush. And they are, let me see what it says in the actual description. It says they crouch in the undergrowth in a gully, dressed in a combination of traditional European clothing adorned with hua feathers, punamu, greenstone, and mako, which are shark's tooth ear pendants, armed with rifles, tomahawks, and traditional Maori weapons. And so this is a group of, it looks like 5 or 6, probably young men, and they are wearing mostly, it looks like they have coverings over the lower portion of their body only, like sort of a, not loincloth, but a sort of draped garment over their hips and like lower body. And they have dark tan skin and black hair. And in this photo, or not photo, rather, it's a painting, they are pointing weapons at what looks like settlers' cattle to defend their land from colonial settlers.
Okay. Very good. Yeah.
And then let's move on to an actual photograph now.
I love the shark's teeth earrings.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right, so here's a quite different image of Maori people. So the first one was sort of like more of a, what word am I looking for? Like a more like wild and loose depiction. And this is also from let's see, what's this year? 1866. So this is the same century. And lest we think of the Maori people as being, people in loincloths out chasing away settlers, this is an image of 3 Maori men. And it looks like their names are Hori Kingi Te Anawa, Hori Keri Pai Pai, and Te Ua Hamane. And this is 1866. And they're 3 men sitting in what looks like military garb. During the New Zealand Wars, it says. It was taken in Napier, where photographer Swan and Rigglesworth had a studio in 1866. And there are 2 allies and 1 adversary. And so this is 3 men. There's one standing behind the other 2. And he has a jacket that's open, buttoned at the chest and open below that, and has a vest underneath. And he has tan skin and bright dark eyes and a mutton chop facial hair situation going on.
Oh,
and he has a military hat on.
Everywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the
Oh my
1860s.
right.
And then the man sitting in front of him that he has his hand on the shoulder of is a significantly older man. The one who's standing is probably maybe 30s. And then this one who's sitting looks like he's probably more in his 50s or 60s. And he also has white mutton chop hair and a bowler cap on, and he's wearing a jacket and long slacks as well. And he has a cane in front of him that he's resting his hands on. And then the third man is also seated in front of the standing man, and he has a bit of a grumpy expression on his face. I think he may be the adversary.
Yeah.
And he's not wearing a hat. He has his hair loose and it's dark and a little bit curly, and he has a mustache and is also wearing sort of military garb. I can't obviously, from a photo from 1866, tell what colors any of their clothing is, but it looks like a darker sort of somber shade throughout.
Interesting.
So that's funny that both of those are from the same kind of time period.
Yeah.
Wondering what these New Zealand wars were about. Interesting.
Yeah, we can see if we can find something about that.
Yeah.
Search New Zealand wars.
Yeah, that's yeah, because I don't honestly know much about the history of the country, and this would
as I always like to point out to guests and people who participate in the afternoon at the museum often, that this is the benefit of IRA. As you go along in the tour, the various exhibits, we can ask the agents, can you check this out or that out? Right as we are in person, as we get back to being in person in a lot of these venues, you know, we have the benefit of asking agents to check other things out along the way.
This is one I'd love to go to.
I'm pretty much sold on going to everything.
Oh yeah.
Every week we come up with a new place we need to go.
Oh my God. And so many of these are reopening. So exciting.
Yes.
So I found a bunch of exhibits and collection items about the New Zealand wars. What I'm trying to find now is one that has information about the actual wars in its description.
Yeah. Tells us what in
and the Maori people.
Because I know that obviously New Zealand was colonized by probably the British, maybe the Dutch, given the name New Zealand, I would think so. But that kind of history.
It's a good best guess.
Yeah. And I know that there are, two islands that make up New Zealand, the North and the South. And Auckland is in the north. That's the capital now. But the capital used to be, was it Wellington or Christchurch? I can never remember. But all this was conveyed to me by my dear friend in Gore. And so very, very interesting.
All right, so what I ended up actually doing was searching the New Zealand wars and just pulling up the Wikipedia for a quick little.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we can get back into see if we can find some artifacts about it as well. It says the New Zealand Wars took place from 1845 to 1872 between the New Zealand colonial government and the Allied Maori on one side and Maori allowed settlers on the other. They were previously commonly referred to as the Land Wars or the Maori Wars. Maori language names for the conflicts included Ngā Pakanga o Aotearoa, which means the Great New Zealand Wars, and Te Riri Pakeha, which means the white man's anger. It says historian James Bellick popularized the name the New Zealand Wars in the 1980s. So looks like they've been called a lot of things over the time. It took place between the colonial government and Maori people who were resisting the colonial government.
Interesting.
So Julia, wait a minute. Did you say 1845?
1872, yeah. So it was about
40. Wow.
That's a
27 years for.
That is a long struggle right there.
I would imagine it's probably comparable to the Indian Wars in the U.S.
I would
expanding territory and different skirmishes and things like that.
Yeah, I would think so. And ours actually lasted a good bit longer than that.
Yeah, that was quite a while.
Well, then this begs the question. So New Zealand is the name. Was that the name pre-colonization? Or do we
find out?
Yeah,
I know we're going on many various side trips along the way. Exactly. But
That's why
this is
it's
the fun
fun.
of it all.
Yeah.
And forgive us for our northern hemispheric centric
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but
Because I mean, 27 years in a pretty long fight gives me the
yeah,
impression that they were not New Zealand before they
no.
became New Zealand. So forgive
Nope.
me, folks, who live there, if I'm taking you all on a place that's then you know or want to go, but curious.
Yeah. Now, if you, and we may get to it today, we may not, we probably won't, because we're probably going to be looking a lot at cultural kinds of things to learn about the Maori, but we will have, there is a wonderful page and set of links on this website about civil rights issues for the Maori. And we're going to feature that link in our social media on Monday. So stay tuned to our Twitter and Facebook feeds on Monday, and we're going to have that link from this website because it's quite fast. And I spent like an hour up there.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I've
And then I
spent,
realized, oh my gosh.
I've spent about 4 hours with this website in
Oh,
preparation
yeah.
for this and just going down rabbit holes and getting lost over and over again.
Amazing.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's a really cool website. There's a lot involved. Okay, so history of New Zealand. It looks like Eastern Polynesians, Maori people settled the New Zealand archipelago between 1250 and 1300. Although newer archaeological and genetic research points to a date no earlier than about 1280.
Wow.
And the Maori name for New Zealand before it was settled was, it's spelled Aotearoa. And
Okay.
that is pronounced Aotearoa, it looks like.
If you say so.
I agree with that, Judy.
And it is located, it's the North Island, South Island, and then 700 smaller islands. It covers a total area of 268,000 square kilometers about, which is a little more than 100,000 square miles.
Yeah, they have a ton of actual time zones to cover all that.
Well, yeah.
It's 2,000 kilometers east of Australia across the Tasman Sea. The capital is Wellington, and most populous city is Auckland. So that gives us a little bit of background about.
Disregard everything I said earlier.
So the current capital is Wellington. Then, sorry.
That's right.
Okay. Wow.
All right, let me get back to our collections page here.
Yeah, before we take you on another journey down
I did not realize that the Maori involvement was so late in time, basically, at in the 11th century there. That's pretty amazing, actually. I thought they had always been there. But Eastern Polynesian, that kind of makes sense because, pretty much exploring the entire Pacific area and then colonizing all these islands. So
yeah.
All right, so it looks like we have a lot of different kinds of objects in this collection. And
so Julia, my question to you, since you mentioned there's lots of different types of objects in the collection, is there anything, and again, I dovetail to the side and say to the audience, this is the cool part of having an IRA agent on board. Is there anything in your opinion that's just like eye-popping, stands out? If so, please feel free to just describe that first.
Sure. Okay. All right, let's just go page by page and I can kind of see what looks like it could be a highlight. The first thing that's jumping out at me on this first page is a garment that I have never seen before. So let's see what it is and where it comes from.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like this is a garment called a pake. And it's part of the Tonga Maori collection at Te Papa. And it looks like almost like a 1960s shag mini dress.
Oh, wow.
It starts at a little bit below shoulder level, and there's a brightly colored, it looks like woven band that goes around the top part of the torso. And then it falls to probably what looks like it would be a bit below the waist. It's sitting on a mannequin right now, so it's hard to say. But and all of that body below that woven rainbow colored band, it looks like it must be some sort of hair or.
Ooh.
Okay, so this says material summary is silver, copper, plastic. So it's not hair, it's copper. It looks like little copper wires. And there's rows and rows of these little copper filaments falling down on the front part of this garment. And it's really beautiful. It's got this like gorgeous sort of copper sheen to it on the front. And then it looks like there's colorful bands on the back. And I can't actually tell if it's closed at the side. I think it might be more of a shawl than actually a fully enclosed like dress sort of shape. I'm trying to see if there's, okay. So there's a big description here. It says that Matthew McIntyre Wilson created this extraordinary contemporary example of a pake from recycled electrical cable and fine silver wire.
Wow.
And he's a renowned artist jeweler. And his inspiration came from an early pake passed down to him that once belonged to his great grandfather. So this is a garment for, it looks like men. And that was said to have been given to him by Te Rangi Hiroa. He's an academic, Maori academic scholar, leader, doctor. And he was once the director of the Bishop Museum in Honolulu, Hawaii. It says that this is a cloak, and the base of the cloak consists of vertical warps of multicolored electrical cabling. So this is a contemporary take on a traditional Maori cloak.
Sounds beautiful.
Interesting. I wonder what the traditional one was made of.
Wonder if we can find one.
Yeah, because I'm wondering.
And then you think about it, hand sewn, no doubt.
Hand woven,
hand
all
woven.
of that.
And what would that have taken?
Oh, she found one. All right.
All right, so this is a kind of pake called a haike, Hieke. It says it's a type of rain cape. This one is from sometime between 1850 and 1900 from the East Cape. And it looks like the materials are listed only as leaf. And it was made through weaving. And it must have been from some sort of very large, very fibrous kind of leaf, like maybe a palm or something of that nature. It looks almost like it was woven from straw or something similar like that sort of texture. And it has a very similar silhouette and design to the contemporary one that we just discussed. It has a woven band at the top. It looks like it's braided. And then there are a bunch of different little, like almost shreds of this leaf material coming down in tiers, all the way from that top band all the way down to the bottom. And this is a straw colored sort of tan mostly. And there are little sections in it that look like they must be strategically placed where there's a darker color to the material. And it gives it almost like a very like loose abstract checkerboard kind of pattern.
Oh, which would be really cool if you're moving. I would.
Yeah, it's really quite beautiful.
Yeah, wouldn't that be gorgeous to see?
Wow, it would. And a rain cape, but those leaves must be pretty thick as well.
Yeah. Okay. So it says it's flax fiber. So it's the fibers from flax leaves.
Okay.
And they use single paired twining to build it, which must be a kind of weaving.
Yep.
It's very cool.
Intricate. I mean, the talent it must have taken to do that, not without our modern machinery.
Yeah, by hand.
Amazing. And the length of it goes past waist, right?
Yeah, that's what it's looked like from the examples that I've seen, to just below waist so far. It looks like there's a few other, maybe even older examples on the site as well. You could spend probably a half hour talking about these rain capes alone.
Yeah.
Do you want to
have 800,000 artifacts?
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to see if we can find more about Maori garments, though?
Sure, why not?
We can, and I would be interested in Maori food.
Okay.
Maori, just the food as well as, in addition to the garments, maybe food and Janine, can you think of that?
Well, they have. I remember this from the Polynesian Cultural Center in Hawaii. They have these really intricately carved I don't know if I can't remember if they're totem poles or spears. They're one of the two, but the carving on them is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it might be a spear because the one figure, the human type figure, has a really huge stuck out tongue. And that's like a fierce thing in culture. And so this is meant to be really scary. And it was like, whoa. And these things are tall and but the carving on them was amazing.
Yeah.
So,
there's a lot we learn from visiting these various museums. And I'm so happy you pointed out that this is May is Asian Pacific People's Month, if I'm saying it correctly, because we in the US, of course, we celebrate our holidays and our months, and obviously Ira is here, but we definitely appreciate all people across the world and are happy to have Ira be in so many locations outside of the US.
And stay tuned. Stay tuned next Thursday. We have a big announcement about that. So stay tuned. Yeah. All right.
So while I was searching for Maori clothing, I found something that I could not help but clicking through to, which is a photograph from, 1900 in New Zealand, unknown photographer. And it's simply titled Maori Woman Wearing Victorian Clothing.
Oh my.
And this picture is so cool because it has this really cool mix of tribal garments, and also she's wearing, European Victorian clothing.
Oh, wow.
So what we have here is a woman who is seated in an intricately carved chair with her right arm draped across a desk. It looks like she's seated by a window. You can see the curtain in the corner of the image. And she is wearing a floor-length, wide skirt Victorian dress. It's belted at the waist, and she's wearing long Victorian necklaces as well, and what looks like a fur coat that's about waist length.
Oh my.
Long sleeves fur coat. And she has a feathered hat, like a very proper lady's hat. And she appears to be in a pretty luxurious kind of setting as well, like European style luxury. And she has tribal tattoos on her face, on her chin, from just underneath her bottom lip to her chin. And she also is wearing those mako earrings that we were talking about earlier. And she has long dark hair that's loose around her shoulders, and she just has this like very stoic, beautiful look on her face. And she appears to be a relatively young woman. And so I just thought that contrast was really beautiful.
Yeah. Can you see the tattoo that she has?
Yeah, you can see it. It looks like sort of almost an H shape is the main outline of it. And then it has intricate little tribal details on the inside. I can't see it particularly clearly, but you can for sure tell that it's there from this photograph. It's really neat.
Cool. That's fascinating right there, and a little sad. But
yeah, the assimilation and sort of blending of cultures that had to come out of the colonialism.
Yeah.
You want to look into food?
Yeah, let's
try to see the
food. We love food here.
Yeah, we do. Let's see how I'm going to figure this out. This website, I will say, it has everything, but sometimes it takes a while to find what you're looking for, because it's not just a collection. It's not organized particularly.
Right. Are we still on Te Papa on the site?
Yeah, we're still on Te Papa, and so I'm in the Maori. I filtered for Maori, and now I'm trying to search for food within that filter. So let's see what we find.
Cuisine.
Yeah.
Oh, I can click with images. That would help. Okay.
All right.
All right, here we go. Food inside the Maori collection with images. Let's see what we can find.
All right. And I know that once the Europeans colonized, a big thing from New Zealand was wool and sheep.
And this is cool.
Ooh. Oh.
We love it when our agents say,
yes. I know. Now I can't wait.
It's like, something's good's coming.
Honestly, I'm not sure what this even is, but it's so cool. It says food hook. and it's made of wood. And it is a fish hook shaped artifact that is carved from wood. It's very intricate, and it has a base up at the top where it has concentric circles, and then there's a hole drilled through it, looking like you could probably hang it from that hole.
Mhm.
And then the shaft goes down several more inches, and then the bottom part is a double-sided sort of fish hook shape. And it
Oh,
is intricately carved with these little notches all through the shaft part, and then there's rows and rows of holes across the bottom part. And all it says is food hook, unknown 1700s Tonga. And it's
Oh,
a
wow.
wood hook.
Hmm.
Now,
Some
I
sort of
personally want to know what a food hook is.
I was going to say,
It's a
or
food
something
hook.
that you hang the food on.
Right. Is it a catching
I-
food or a
Oh,
storing food, I wonder?
maybe.
Yeah, like once you catch whatever and you want it dried out and done with and stuff.
Hang it and
Oh,
That's kind of what it looks like. Is it hangs? It's maybe more decorative, and then you can hang
hang you a
different
bunch of
foods from
bananas.
it. Or maybe if you're drying meat or fish or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is
I'm
the
thinking things
dry-
drying out. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Because I mean, they
Well, they used to sell those for your kitchen, banana hooks, so you could put hook your bananas up on them.
right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And supposedly it was supposed to be better for the bananas because they didn't get bruised if they were hanging them.
Mhm.
Supposedly. So
Yeah.
Gives
I
you
don't
one more
know.
day before they turn brown.
Yep, I was just gonna say I like green bananas myself. So yeah. They usually don't stay up there long enough to be
Right.
to get
Turning
bruised.
on you.
So yeah. Cool. So what else might we have here?
I found some food related dishes and things. This one didn't
Yeah.
want to load for me. Let's try another one. Here's a carved food bowl.
Okay.
See, I would love some of these carvings. I wonder what kind of wood those are made of.
Let you know if any of them say specifically. This one again just says wood. It's from the Santa Cruz Islands. And this is a broad carved bowl with a rim and two handles carved into it. And it's a brightly colored sort of red toned wood.
Mhm.
It's got really a very beautiful color to it. And it looks like it has channels carved into it on either side underneath the handles as well. So it's not just a simple round bowl. It has quite a bit of craftsmanship put into it.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have a year on this one, but it was a gift to the museum in 1913. So it's been around for a while.
Right. It's been around. Yeah. See, I would want to know, again, thinking in terms of people visiting Maori and what would our traditional, say, breakfast, lunch, or dinner be for them? What
Mhm.
I think in terms of
venturing off
yeah,
of the site to answer that question.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
might have
I
to.
think about our American continental breakfast and what all that entails, and other parts of the world have a different take on breakfast. What do they look like?
All right.
Oh, we found something.
I found another site. It's called tamakimaorivillage.co.nz.
Mhm.
Ooh.
And it appears to be a blog. And this particular section is called Traditional Foods Used in Maori Culture.
Aha. All right.
Okay, so brief overview. It says Maori kai, which is the word for food, is prepared using a delicious combination of kai moana, food from the sea, and kai wenua, food from the land. And in this blog, they talk about commonly used ingredients found in traditional Maori foods.
Mhm.
Maori people were traditionally hunters, gatherers, and crop farmers
Mm.
who harvested food from the forest, stream, sea, and garden. Not surprising that the ingredients that make it to our plates come from these sources. Just a moment.
Ooh. Mm.
Mhm.
Now,
And
I
again, Julia, just for clarification, Maori is spelled, is it Mauri?
Maori.
Okay, totally botched that. I'm so sorry.
So
Meaori.
Maori.
Oh, Maori.
All right, so here's some traditional ingredients that you would find in Maori food. The first one
Mhm.
says kumara. Available in red, gold, or orange varieties, kumara is known as sweet potato elsewhere. It was brought to New Zealand by Polynesia, or from Polynesia by Maori ancestors. And seafood, they tended to use, let's see, whitebait, particularly those from West Coast streams is a favorite. That's a fish that they use. They do fritters like fried chips and also patties. Or fried fish with chips, rather.
I was gonna say, this is fried fish with these sweet potato chips. Oh yeah.
That has to be delicious.
Kuku, which are mussels. They are enjoyed on their own or in various dishes. It looks like green shell mussels are world renowned, and those are from New Zealand.
I love
Fish, kina, which are sea eggs. Tipa, which is scallops. Kuora, which is freshwater crayfish.
Ooh.
And paua, which is abalone. And tio, or oysters. So it looks like basically anything you can pull out of the sea and eat, they are into.
Yeah, they're doing it.
Oh, love abalone too.
That
That is the strangest looking thing to eat, though. It's very weird looking. Just like, really? I'm supposed to eat this?
There's
I'm not that adventurous to me.
I eat everything.
Same here. Just, yep.
There's a traditional bread that's made from Maori potatoes that's called rowena pararoa. It looks like for herbs and seasoning, they use flax a lot, which is a superfood. So that same thing that they use to make that rain cape, they also use as a food ingredient.
Seeds, oil, all that.
Yeah, they use it as the oil and as seasoning, it looks like. Horopito replaces traditional pepper. It comes in 3 varieties. Something called kawakawa is found in coastal areas, and it has a rich forest aroma and light minted flavor. So that's another seasoning that they use. And they also use seaweed.
Yes.
Like you would maybe see in like a Japanese cuisine or something like that. And then puha, so thistle, is served with pork, and it has a slightly bitter taste. And then it looks like they use a manuka tree is commonly used to smoke food, the wood of that tree, to add smoking flavor. So it looks like they used smoking as a cooking tool quite a bit.
That makes sense. This is also the place where you get manuka honey, which is honey that they use for medical kinds of things, to heal wounds and things like that, to put on them. And a lot of veterinarians use it because it tastes so horrible. The animals aren't going to.
They won't eat it.
I've actually tasted it. It did taste bad. Oh, wow. It is definitely not a honey you want to eat.
Okay.
But it's huge for medicinal purposes. It's natural antibiotic and all that stuff. It's also incredibly expensive.
Do manuka trees only grow here?
I think so. I want to say they do, because this particular honey is only found in New Zealand. So, yeah.
So, Julia, I've taken you off. You spent many hours prepping for this, and I've taken you way off the track. So my question to you is, as you prepared for the show today, was there anything in your research that just stood out that you feel like, I got to say this before we close?
A place where I got lost for a little while was I filtered for the Maori collection, and then I also filtered for art.
Oh, yeah.
And so let's look at some Maori art.
Yeah, because I think that's going to show us these images that are carved onto things.
Yeah.
And also colors that would be used. Because I know, different colors mean different things in different cultures. And
yes.
And if you are out and about and attend one of the Asian American festivals that are usually held this time of year, I just missed one last weekend. So I think it was last weekend. Hopefully it's not this weekend, because if it was, kind of missed the planning on that. But we have the Asian Festival here in Columbus, which is, it's fantastic. We've been a few years in a row, and we did dragon boat races. We were helping to supervise for the Coast Guard Auxiliary, those along the Scioto River. And that was cool. And just, so much stuff, so much stuff.
dragon boat races. That just sounds fun.
Oh yeah, and I know a lot of blind people participate in dragon boat teams. So yep, totally fun. I would love to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
and maybe wherever you live in the various places represented by our guests today, you too can participate in
Have your agent take some pictures for you and send them in. We'd love to feature them. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some artwork.
Yeah, let's start with a table.
Okay.
This says Maori Folk Art Occasional Table. It's by John Henry Menzies, who's the maker / artist, and he lived from 1878 to 1919. Or perhaps that's the years of manufacture. It's from sometime in that range, late 1800s, early 1900s. And it's a sideboard table. And what this is the tabletop is an octagonal top, and it is intricately carved. So there's a boundary that goes around the inside of the shape of the tabletop. It's probably a couple inches inside of that outline. And in the space created between the outside of the table and this boundary, there are inlaid, it looks like opals.
Oh, wow.
At the intersection of every, or at every corner on the octagon, there are inlaid, and it looks like 2 of them are now missing. And I'm not sure if it's opal or it could be maybe the inside of a shell, but it has that iridescent, beautiful sort of shine to it. Yeah, it could be abalone.
Yep.
It doesn't say, it actually just says wood for material. So I'm not entirely sure what these inlaid are, but they have this beautiful sort of iridescent multicolored shine to them. And then around all of those inlaid materials is extremely intricate carving that looks almost like lips. Like if you were going to draw a kiss, it looks kind of like that. And then inside of that boundary, there's a big rectangle across the center of this table. So this is sort of the main feature in this carving. And it looks kind of like a tribal representation of the sea. If I had to guess, it has wavy sort of lines, little curly cues coming off of them all through the center. And those are big white carvings there. And then there's much more tiny little intricate detail carved between those main features in this carving. And there's also spiral carvings across the rest of the tabletop that I haven't described already. And it's just extremely intricate and extremely beautiful. And the table itself is a table where you have that octagonal tabletop, and then it has 2 legs on either side that cross. So it looks like it can fold. And then there are 2 little like footrests down at the very bottom. And it looks like the feet of this table are carved as well.
Oh, wow.
And those carvings are, it looks like the kind of faces that you'd see on like a totem pole.
Yep, there you go.
And so each of the feet has a totem carving, it looks like.
Oh, cool.
So that one's really neat. Let's see what else we can find for art.
And I'm imagining this is probably the intricate table that would be in the home of a more well-off, well-to-do leader. And I don't know if they had royalty or how their society was set up.
You want me to look that up real quick?
Yeah,
Sure. We've taken you down enough rabbit holes.
No,
Why not one more?
Part.
Now I want that. I want a replica of that table.
Of course, you know there's got to be a gift shop, Janine. So.
Oh my gosh, there has to be a gift shop. Yes.
Okay, so I searched Maori Societal Organization and came up with, well, the first thing this page has is a warning that this information is from 1966 and hasn't been updated.
Okay.
So let's maybe not use this source.
This may not exactly be, yeah.
Thanks for the warning, people.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I'm glad we got that warning right up front.
Maybe we'll skip that one.
We didn't get halfway through and go, ooh, man, what are we reading?
Wow.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, definitely. So were there any other artworks that really hit you?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I did
that's
find one more source for this, just really, really briefly. It says
Okay.
Maori
Yeah.
people in New Zealand lived together in tribes, which were led by chiefs. It was divided
Mhm.
into a number of large tribes known as iwis, and each iwi was formed of a number of small tribes called hapus, which are each led by an ariki, which is the chief. And the hapus came together to form the iwi in times of war. So they do have chiefs, and they were organized with smaller tribes, and then those tribes
Right.
would come together to cooperate. It sounds like.
Sounds very like Native Americans, very
Mhm.
pretty
Mhm.
much
Mhm.
tribal culture everywhere.
Similar
Mhm.
indigenous cultures. Yeah.
Yes.
Ah,
Mhm.
right.
This has definitely been a lesson
Oh,
for me. Because you hear names, you hear New Zealand, you think it's beautiful because I've heard it said it's a beautiful place to
yeah.
visit. Had heard about the Maori. To get the phone call
Mhm.
because this is my Friday.
Yes, I can
I'm
relate
afraid if
to
I swipe it, it'll answer.
this. No worries.
Not
But
sure
yeah,
that could be edited out of the video.
no, that's okay. But they don't, you don't really realize until you really dig into it exactly what the culture is and what the topography. And we haven't even
Yes.
gone into all of the animals that are native to New
Right.
Zealand that are
Right.
not
Yeah.
anywhere
Yeah.
in
The
the
Exactly.
world.
zoology portion of this museum is really interesting too, because
Oh,
they have
nice.
such a unique flora and fauna on those islands.
Yes.
Oh.
Sadly, much of it pretty endangered too.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I
Janine,
have.
maybe we'll have to return.
Yes.
We
Yes.
could do a completely different vibe at the same museum.
Oh my gosh.
Easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do we have here?
I have three things.
Okay.
Quickly. The first two is it's two separate paintings by two separate painters. One is from 1874, one is from 1992, and they're
Mhm.
both titled Maori Girl. And I just want to give you a brief description of both of them because the contrast is really interesting. So the first one that was painted in the 1800s is loading. Give me just a moment. Sorry. Oh man, is it not going to load for me? I'll just describe it from the thumbnail. It's okay. It's big enough just to get a brief little description. Okay, so this is a painting of a Maori girl who is wearing European-centric clothing. She's wearing it looks like a coat with buttons down the front, little black buttons, and it has black lapels, and she's wearing a white shirt underneath, and she has some like a sort of an ascot tie around her neck. Looks like jade earrings. Her hair is parted in the center, and she has ringlets falling down over her shoulders. And then the latter one, which is from 1992, is a completely different image of a Maori girl. This is a young woman in traditional tribal garb. She's wearing a cross-shoulder garment. She has a necklace with an intricately carved green stone. It looks like a tribal pattern. Her hair is falling loose over her shoulders in waves, and she has a feather stuck in her hair. And you can see again on her chin that tattoo, the tribal tattoos that it seems that the women have in some of these tribes.
Mm.
And she's looking off to the left side of the frame, and she has a very strong stoic kind of look on her face, and her chin's held high and her neck looks strong, and she has broad shoulders. So this is a more sort of traditional and strong portrayal of tribal people as tribal people rather than a painting of a Maori girl,
I
dressed
wonder
in.
if that pendant is jade, because they have some gorgeous jade in New
That's what
Zealand.
it looks like. Yeah, it's
It's
definitely
dark.
carved of stone, and it's this really bright, deep color
Yes.
of jade.
It's very, very, some of them are darker. I have a piece of Maori jade that's like a dark green. And then I have another piece that's purples and greens and blues and just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do a lot of carving into that jade and with that jade. And the one piece, the green piece I have is on a necklace, and it's carved pretty intricately.
Mm-hmm.
So this says, there's actually quite a long description for this painting, but I just want to hit this one point really quickly. It says, her mouth is firm, her jawline strong, and her bearing is upright. Her eyes do not meet ours. Instead, she casts a steady gaze back along this wall of portraits. This woman represents a challenge to European depictions of Maori, like the one we just discussed. Over a century after she sat for her portrait, she asserts a strong and enduring presence, maintaining a sense of self that resists both the artist and the viewer. So this painting was actually painted in the 1890s then.
Oh, wow. Huh, wow.
So she's showing the strength of the Maori people.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Resisting.
Paintings are only 20 years apart. That's pretty amazing. And you've got those two different depictions. I'm glad the latter artist did what they did to make that particular depiction. That's gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, sadly, colonialism is
it's insidious.
Strips people of their
Unfortunately.
heritage often, and so that's what we get to learn when we visit these various museums, is what was life really like. Not to take away and suggest that,
or we kind of imposed our Western culture on it.
And and there's things that have come out of that have benefited people perhaps, but all to say that respect for all cultures is, I think, the better strategy plan, if you will, because everybody's something of value.
Yep. So you said you had three things for us.
The very last thing that I found to be extremely cool is an object from 1913. And it says Maori Rebel flag.
Oh,
and this is a watercolor mock-up of the Maori Rebel flag from 1913. The artist is called William Francis Gordon. And so this flag is kind of the schematics for the flag. It's a red rectangular horizontal flag. And on the lefternmost portion, there is a white cross. And then in the center, there's a 6 pointed star with the center cut out of it. It looks like you can see the red through a circle in the center. And each of the prongs of the star is half white and half black. So it gives it kind of like a 3D, almost spinning sort of look to it, like a throwing star.
Cool.
And then it has the Maori name for New Zealand at the bottom of the flag.
Oh, cool.
Aotearoa. It says, this handsome flag was captured by the forest rangers under Major Jackson on December 13th, 1863, in an engagement about 5 miles north of Paparata. It's very neatly made of crimson silk, white calico, and black luster. The maker was a young half-tassel. Is that what it says? Half-tassel? Oh, half-caste is probably the, I'm sure, not politically correct term anymore for somebody who's half Maori. His name was Jane Russell. And so this is a flag that was captured by colonial forces from Maori rebels, and they painted it, or they designed it to be their vision of New Zealand.
Oh, the irony of that rebel flag versus our Confederate flag right about the same time.
Right, I was going to say 1863.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Civil War was actually going on in 1863.
The irony.
Right. I mean, if you want to talk about things we could do in the museum, the zoology, the civil rights portion.
Oh my gosh, there are so many things to explore on this one. We would highly recommend you doing that. But in our last few minutes, guess what it's time for? Gift shop.
Gift shop.
Oh yeah, we have a shop. All right, let's go.
And one important question that we have in chat is, does the gift shop ship internationally?
Oh yes, good question. That is a very good question.
Very good question. I would hope so.
I would hope so too. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, it says domestic and international shipping available.
Yay!
Don't tell me that. That's scary.
There's some of that jade in there that's calling my name.
I like that flag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wonder if they have that.
Oh, I wonder if they do. Well, let's see.
Let me just search flag in the gift shop and see what happens.
And while she is searching for that, I will tell everybody that next week we are going to be with Michael Hudson from the American Printing House for the Blind in Louisville, Kentucky, where we will be going to see the APH Museum and website. They also now have the Helen Keller collection there. And Michael will be telling us they just finished up their revamp of their website. So we're kind of excited to see exactly what we'll be looking at next week. But lots of blindness culture here in the United States and probably around the world with some of Helen Keller's memorabilia and things that she did and appearances that she made around the world. So very excited about that. And then the week after that, to top off our season, we will have special guest agent Wendell will be returning to Afternoon at the Museum. And he and some special guests will be at the Veterans Memorial Museum right here in Columbus, Ohio. And that museum was dedicated about, gosh, let me see, 4 years ago, I believe now, 3 or 4 years ago. I can't recall what. I was at the dedication and I don't even remember when it was, but it was just an incredible experience.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. So we are now in the gift shop.
All right, this gift shop, much in the spirit of this museum, is massive. They have a little bit of everything. They have art prints, decorative art, museum collection prints, and fine art prints. They have New Zealand designed jewelry, tote bags, and accessories. They have a kids section. They have books. They have gifts. They have specifically Tonga.
It makes you wonder if the gift shop is bigger than the museum when you get to it, like in person, right? Like,
oh my gosh, I don't know, but I have heard so many good things about this museum just in general for accessibility that, wow, it's definitely something. And I would bet that they have in both the kid and adult section animals that replicate some of the animals that are found in New Zealand.
I would think animals and musical instruments. I wonder if they have something that's unique to them as a
I bet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And cool masks.
Masks.
I wonder if they have masks.
We're still doing the mask thing, guys. So don't forget those of you who have not gotten your vaccine yet, and even those of us who have, just in case, because we're not quite sure. So, but we will be back here next week at same time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and then we'll only have 2 more episodes. But wait, because in June, stay tuned, because there is a very important holiday that a lot of us just learned about last year, and that is Juneteenth. And I want you to stay tuned because we're going to be having some very fun things the week of Juneteenth. And Juneteenth is, as I grab my amazing Braille.
And I think it's safe to say, like, even sooner than that, just stay tuned. There's some
stay tuned.
There's some big stuff coming up, guys.
There is some seriously big stuff. The official June 19th celebration is June 19th for Juneteenth. But next week, stay tuned
next week,
to the
guys.
YouTube channel. And be sure to subscribe to our channel so you get the notification when we go live, because we have a big, huge announcement.
Like it's massive, guys. Like, I don't know. This one's huge. Like, I'm
kind of world changing, actually. And
is it Thursday, Jenny?
It's Thursday. It is Global Accessibility Awareness Day next Thursday. And you have probably
I'm just gonna change it to Global IRA Global IRA World Changing Day.
Yes,
like, I think that is
Domination Day.
Yeah, I think that's it, because guys, like, I'm so excited for next week. Stay tuned to this channel.
Definitely.
And our social media. We will be here.
And because we are everywhere. Well, I would like to thank Julia for choosing this museum and making me go back to that gift shop and look at the jade.
Love the jade.
Oh, and some of those shark tooth earrings.
Question from somebody on YouTube.
Yes.
Is this museum an access location?
It is not at the moment. However, we have reached out to them to be a potential access location. I would love it if it was, because honestly, hours and hours here.
Oh, yes.
So we are hoping. And if you want to send them a note to buoy this up, just let them know that you would love to be able to check out their online offerings, of which there are many, as we see, and let them know that. And yeah, so what we do is we contact all of the museums that we feature here and ask them if they are interested, if they're not already an access location. And I do believe, Ryan, I'm going to have to check this out, but I think the APH Museum is an access location. I could be wrong about that.
APH is, so I believe it encompasses the museum, but I don't know off the top of my head.
And that's
if so, we do need to get an offer for that, so which we don't have. So
all right. Well, Ryan is working on our offer, so never fear. Never fear. Well, I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much, Stephanie and Julia and Ryan, for going on our trip. And please put your seats and trays in their upright and locked position for landing, because we're coming back to the Northern Hemisphere, folks. Well,
unless you weren't already here.
But it was a bumpy ride today, because we were all over that museum in all kinds of ways. How much fun. Thank you, Julia.
Yeah, we did not go to the Shire, though, which is all of the Lord of the Rings movies, folks, were filmed in New Zealand. And they now have all of these cool tours that you can go on if you are a Lord of the Rings fan or a Tolkien fan. And apparently that is quite the thing in New Zealand. So everybody goes on the tours for.
That's brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Another, what? Like, we need more reasons to go to New Zealand?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. And to my predecessor, Jonathan Mosen, hey, out there, probably the most famous New Zealander that most of us in the blind community know. So,
yes.
Hey.
Amazing person, Jonathan Mosen.
Yep. Well, with that, I will say goodbye for now. We will see you next week when we will be in Louisville, Kentucky. So